Jobs make moms lazy. And before you come at me and start putting on the comments, how dare you say that? I'm a single mom. I work my butt off to put food on the table. Blah, blah, blah. I love my career. And you come at me. Wait a second, girl. Let me explain. Before I was a stay-at-home mom, work from home, and homeschooling mom, I had a job outside of the home. I always worked outside of the home. And I realized the difference of a woman who works outside versus a mom who is full-time at home. And there is a huge difference. Let me explain. I remember working at a job, and I remember what it was like. And I remember that there were downtimes. Times when you're just, passing by a colleague's cubicle and you're like, hey, what's up? Oh my God, so last night, blah, 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 blah. And you get into that and you're like, okay, yeah, I gotta go get back to work. And then you answer some phone calls, you do some paperwork, you do some, you call whoever you need to call. And then you guess what? You have another downtime. And being from Miami, there's a lot of, cafecito time where you have your little colada, at midday. I used to have like 3-4 coladas a day. Because someone make colada in the morning, which is coffee, Cuban coffee. And then someone make colada in the afternoon at 1 o'clock. And then at 3. And then I used to leave work. I used to love working till super late. So I would have 3-4 coladas a day, right? And it was ridiculous the amount of time. Sure, I would work and I would put in the work. But it was ridiculous the amount of time that was wasted just walking around, going to the bathroom, answering text messages, getting distracted on social media. I mean, it was insane. And at the time, it wasn't like, TikTok was a thing. It was Facebook. And it was just, social media was not what it is right now, right? And it was incredible. When I made the shift to become a stay-at-home mom, I'm like, whoa, wait, like this is totally different, because now I'm pregnant. I was pregnant at the time when I stopped working. And then I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to have this little person that's going to be relying on me, and everything's going to change. I don't have a boss. I don't have anyone telling me what to do. Now I'm 100% accountable for everything that I do. Like 100% accountable. And I was like, wait, this is different. So I went down this journey of entrepreneurship, and with this entrepreneurial spirit where I'm like, wait a second, I have to do something else. I'm a very creative person. So I'm like, man, what if I start writing books, or, how do you write a book? And I went down that rabbit hole, and hence the reason why I'm a ghostwriter. And I have all these videos on this channel of book creation and things like that. So I went down this hole of, okay, what do I have to do? Oh, now I have to learn how to cook, but I have to cook healthy meals because a child is coming. So now I have to cook, and wait, I have a husband, and now I have to make sure that he works, all day. So I appreciate his hard work. And in response to that appreciation and his hard work, I want to be able to have a meal on the table when he comes home. And then we can spend some time, and, he does his part and I do my part, and we work together. And it was a beautiful thing at first, though hard, really hard. It was a learning. Like I was embarking on this learning journey. Like I really have to learn. It's not like when you go to a job, you learn what you have to learn, and then you put it into practice every day, and you do the same thing over and over again. You have customers asking you the same questions, and you reply with the same answers. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you have problems here and there. You can solve them. Oh, okay, we can give them a discount here, or give them something free, or whatever the case may be. But it's, for the most part, it's always the same. When you're at home and you become accountable for cooking and the cleaning and everything, every day is not the same. Sometimes you really have to sit down and be like, okay, I need to learn how to manage my time. What am I going to be doing in the morning? What am I going to do in the afternoon? And if I want to learn something or take an online course of some sort, guess what? I need to make time for that. But I also need to make time for my kids. And I also need to make time for my husband. And I also need to make time for all these other things. It's like, whoa, wait a second. You become a manager. You become a multitasker, and you become it's just you fit into so many different roles that I never experienced at a job. So I went from being mediocre at working because I would get the job done to enough to get a paycheck. I wouldn't go above and beyond sometimes because I'm like, why? When I did to go above and beyond, I wasn't compensated for it. So I'm like, why am I gonna go do work and do the extra things when I'm not even gonna get compensated for? So guess what? I feel like work creates, not all jobs, guys, not all, don't come for me. Not all jobs, not all workplaces work this way. Not everyone feels like this. So I'm just speaking for myself and my experience, okay? So give me a break here. So what I realized about myself is that I became mediocre. When I was working at a job, I became very mediocre. I didn't learn anything extra. Yeah, I would read maybe a little bit here and there, but it wasn't full on self-improvement. I didn't have priorities like clear. Yeah, I kind of like, I was more scattered. That's the word, scattered. And then being at home now, almost 12 years later, being at home with 3 kids, I'm homeschooling. I'm a ghostwriter, so I handle almost all my clients. And then I publish my own books and I do other things, creating these videos for you guys, learning how to edit, learning how to buy, what camera do I buy, what mic do I use, how do I connect all this together so that it could be decent for, my audience or who I'm serving online. And it's just so many different things. How to create a course. So how do I create the course? How do I record it? Where do I put it? I mean, going to a job where I was like, okay, I know what I have to do to get enough to get a paycheck, to coming home and these doors open. And when I see these videos about traditional wives, being a traditional wife for me is like doors of opportunity opening to a woman. Why? Because at a job, it's very the same things over and over again. Whereas when you're at home, taking care of children, trying to build a business or multiple businesses or whatever it is that you're doing, being a creator, creating content, being a copywriter, or just doing something, creating handmade things and selling them on Etsy, creating digital products. I mean, the doors open. Being a traditional wife, I started off as a traditional wife, cooking and the cleaning and, taking care of my child. But along the way, my mind started opening. And I'm like, you know what? I call it the little bug. And my sister would tell me it's like a little bug that it's in there, and it's in Spanish it's un gusanito, and it's just it's like this hunger builds up, and you're like, wait a second, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. But then to do those things, I have to do this, and it's like hundreds of things that you have to do. And for me, there's nothing like being a traditional wife. Nothing compares to it. You have to learn how to do it all. I mean, there's nobody helping you. It's just you. Like, you're accountable. You didn't do something, it's your fault. It's my responsibility. It's my fault. And I learned that while, sure, being a full-time, if you're just a traditional wife and that's what you want to do, and that's what God has put in your heart, then that's a beautiful thing. However, I believe that the woman of God, a woman who is godly, God-fearing, and if we read what a woman is in the Bible, she's productive. She's a woman that strives not to just be productive and be busy. No, she walks with purpose. She does things because everything has a purpose. I believe that every human being on earth, women are creative human beings, like super creative, like more creative than men sometimes. And we do not use that creativity to our fullest potential. And I feel that instead of bashing on traditional wives, as I see on social media, on YouTube, all these videos about traditional wives, and I believe there is a season to be a traditional wife. There could be a season to be a traditional wife, which is a beautiful thing because you are building the foundation of your home. You are unlearning and learning new things. I never thought I'd be homeschooling my kids. That wasn't me. I have friends who homeschooled way before me. And I was like, wait a second. That's for you. That's not for me. I don't have patience. And then what I realized, wait a second, I have this issue. And that's how God works. God works in such beautiful ways because I had an issue with my son in the school. Let me tell you something. And before we go forward, I don't have anything against educators. Educators are beautiful people. They want to dedicate their life and their career to educating other people's kids. Bro, that is like, like, wow. That's honorable. However, as a parent, I'm responsible for my child's education. We all are. But I wanted to take a step further. And I didn't want to continue putting my child in a system that does not cater to his pace and his needs, who is going to rush him and feed him with all this information that is unnecessary. That's a topic for another video. But going back to how jobs make women lazy, it's not all women, but for the most part, someone like me who was used to working like, I'll do enough to get paid, versus now it's like, wait a second, no, I got to go above and beyond. I can't afford to lose a minute of the day. I need to be productive. How can I be the most productive? I have 3 kids. So I'm like, okay, I got to teach this one and then I got to teach that one. But then I have to cook food and I have to cook breakfast and then I have to wash dishes and then I have to wash clothes and then I have to clean and then I have to create a video. But first, research and make sure I bring you guys some value and make sure it's valuable and then edit it because I don't have an editor. And then it's all these things. It makes you so valuable as a human being to be at home. And I recommend it to everybody. If you have never thought, and if you're able to be a TRAD wife, just 100% traditional wife, being at home, cooking for your kids, cooking from scratch, I recommend it 100%, even if it's just for a season, because the doors of opportunity that may open are maybe ones that you will never get to explore, or maybe you will later on down the line when you have a little bit more time. But there are opportunities that you can tap into as a traditional wife. If you're a traditional wife listening to this right now, I encourage you to do the following. Read as many books as you can. Take one course every quarter of the year. We have 4 quarters. Read one book every quarter. Do different things. Incorporate some kind of like an educational component to your life. I really believe in the power of reading, absorbing information, and then applying it because that's considered wisdom. You become a wise person when you read something, you become knowledgeable about that truth, and then you apply that truth onto your life, and then it becomes part of you. That's when changes happen. That's when transformation takes place. When you are able to apply the things that you learn. But how can you learn something if you never read? How can you learn something if you never take an online course? How can you learn something and create this amazing life for yourself if you're never learning? So for the traditional wife, don't just focus on being a traditional wife. Do something while you're at it. Feed yourself. Read the Word of God. Read not just the Bible. Create certain things. Position yourself in. We are purposeful beings, and sure, there's nothing more purposeful than being a mom. Absolutely, I agree with you 100%. There's nothing more important than raising a human being and shaping their character and helping them learn how to make decisions and problem solving and blah, 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 all the good stuff. Sure. However, you are a woman as well. You can't forget about who you are and the things that you want to do, because one day I will let you know. I need to let you know. Like, this is the reality. And I have to remind myself of this. My kids are going to leave me one day. Like, my kids are going to leave the house. It's normal. It's going to happen. Instead of waiting for them to leave, for me to actually focus on my creative self and employing the creativity and the creative ideas that I have, why not start preparing. I see a season of being a traditional wife as a season of preparation. You're preparing yourself, whether it's with, information, knowledge, you're just preparing yourself. And that's exactly how God showed it to me. And in a season of preparation, you study, you research, you read, take time to journal. That is a season. Now, for those, if you want to be a trad wife all your life, and that is your conviction, hey, more power to you. You have a conviction from God. That's wonderful. And for those women who work outside the home, you are honorable just as much as a traditional wife, because you're providing for your children. You're providing for them to have a better life. You're providing for their education if you're paying for a private school. There's honor in that. And the whole reason why I did this video is because a lot of people either trash women who choose to work outside the home, and then we trash the traditional wife because she needs to get a job and she needs to be, she needs to have something of her own career. And those things are valid and they're true. But everything has a season. I want us to focus on the fact that there is a season for everything in life. There's a season when you're young. There's a season when you're old. There's a season when you're older. There's a season to cry. There's a season to celebrate. There are seasons to plow, and there are seasons to reap the harvest. And no matter where you are, no matter where you find yourself, learn to appreciate who you are at that time. If you're a traditional wife, learn to appreciate that time, but make sure you are using your time wisely. For the working mom or the traditional wife, both, be productive women and be purposeful women pursuing the will of God in your lives for that season that you're living in. Thank you for watching. I look forward to your comments and your feedback. I will see you on the next video.